back to Cammie's Corner and a very happy new year to you. So this video would have been beneficial about 30 days ago. Heck, even 5 days ago would have been nice. But it is January 1st and well, here we are. Nothing's new except for the new year. Not me, same old Cammie. Late to her own funeral. So let's make haste on time, and without further ado, let's talk about what we're here to talk about, and that is these shelves behind me. This is my Stephen King collection. Now let me apologize in advance for the poor lighting and the very raw conditions in which I'm filming. This is a work in progress. This is a she shed that I'm converting into my own personal library, so it is not at all film worthy, but I needed to talk about these books, so I needed to film in here. This is taking a little bit longer than expected, so eventually I'm hoping to do a tour of this amazing space, but until it's complete, my OCD won't let me show you. So without further ado, let's just talk about the good stuff right here, not all this craziness. This is my Stephen King collection. This is actually a collection I'm very proud of, something that I've wanted to showcase and discuss for a very long time. However, I've been kind of hesitant to do so, and let me explain why. Many times on this book platform through YouTube, I've seen many people discuss Stephen King, some to great extent, some specifically on a review style video. A lot of people, however, compile these lists, and these lists typically are attributed to their favorites. One of the things that baffles me though is in almost every video I've seen, the favorites list then is followed by someone that says, I haven't read this book yet. That is just mind-boggling to me. How are you going to comprise a list with your name behind it and talk about a list of your favorite Stephen King books only to say that there are a title or two or sometimes more that you just haven't read yet? If I'm going to put my name behind something and I'm going to recommend it to someone else, I'm going to make damn sure I've read the book. Because how are you supposed to talk about it and discuss it with other people if you have absolutely no thoughts of your own on it? To even follow that up by saying, oh, well, so-and-so who normally recommends me books suggested that this might be one of my favorites. Or I heard from so-and-so that this is great because. That still doesn't tell me why, whose channel I'm watching is yours, why it would be your favorite. So you've lost all credibility with me in that video because I no longer care about what you have to say. I didn't want to be one of those people. So in order to combat that pet peeve, I decided that it was time to stop talking about it and just do it. So this year is going to be the year. I am going to read Stephen King chronologically from beginning to end. I am so excited, you guys. I have been relentlessly working on collecting my Stephen King books for quite some time now. Preferably in hardcover and preferably in first edition. I am happy to say of all 79 published works that Stephen King has, I own all but 8. So that's pretty darn impressive. Now there are 2 that I may not get my hands on. I'm not going to say never. Because when you say that, you're throwing it out into the universe, and who knows, I might stumble across a great thrift buy one day. And also not physically owning copies of all of his completed works has also been a hesitation as to why I've waited so long to read through his work. But alas, no more, I am going to knock it out this year. So beginning at the beginning, with the 1974 Carrie. Now this is a very short book. It could even be considered a novella to some. It is 199 pages in length and was published by Doubleday. Now you don't necessarily have to have the original publication to enjoy this chronological read through. Your version can be any version to include audio. Audio is completely acceptable, so check out Audible. You can also check out Libby, your local library. Anything of that nature will work. Reading is reading, however you choose to absorb your novels. So we're going to start here beginning today, January 1st through January 15th. We are going to knock out Carrie. Now there can be some variations, but I'm going to try really hard to stick with the plan. And my first variation is actually going to come in our second title, and that is Salem's Lot. I currently only possess the illustrated version of Salem's Lot, which wasn't published until 2005, so I am vehemently trying to find a reasonably priced copy of Salem's Lot, which was published in 1975. I will get back to you. If not, I've heard that there's not a tremendous amount of variation. This one is just spaced differently. The font is a little bit larger to adhere to the illustrations. This one is 599 pages in length versus the original copy I've been told is about 490 pages in length. Now, of course, that could vary and I could be incorrect, so don't quote me on that. But this will be our second read through, and that is Salem's Lot starting January 16th through the 31st. So you might be saying, okay, how do you go from 200 to 400 pages and still give us 2 weeks to read it? The first month is a run through. We're gonna see how everybody does with it. But the thing is nearly 80 titles, we've got to kind of put some fire under us. But I don't want to drag this out because it's going to then take me forever to get through all of these titles. So I definitely want to try and keep this reasonable, but also speedy at the same time. So am I doing this alone? No, I also have a trusty team on Instagram. So I'm gonna link everybody's Instagrams below. I threw this out to some fellow Nightworms. So Chandra over at Where the Reader Grows, Marcy over at Marcy Reads, Andrew over at The Book Dad, as well as Jessica over at Jessica Map is going to be doing this right alongside me through the Instagram platform. Marcy, who is an Instagrammer, is also, however, a booktuber, and she has a channel that I will link below as well. She's going to be discussing that on there. Please be sure to follow everyone mentioned through Instagram. A lot of the fun will be happening through my stories, and I know that the other Instagrammers have discussed also highlighting the read-through on their Instagram platforms as well. Of course, you guys know me. You know I love to talk. You know I love to deep dive and find out all of the things that nobody else is talking about, so certainly expect that from me. I will be doing a review on each of these books. They will not be lengthy reviews, being that Stephen King has been around long enough that the majority of you know what these stories entail. I just want to add some inquisitive tidbits or maybe some facts that again are not well known. And then through the Twitter platform, I will be also doing some movie watch-alongs for any of those of you that want to participate in that. And of course, giveaways. Come on, what would a read-along be without cool giveaways? So expect and anticipate some giveaways along the way. Now, some very obvious questions that I've been asked is, A, are we reading all of Stephen King's works? Yes, that means nonfiction as well. So if you want to start looking for these titles, checking them out from your local library, borrowing them from friends, however you need to get your hands on them, I do encourage you to go to stephenking.com. It is a very extensive website in which you can download a copy of Stephen King's works from A to Z. You can also get a identifying first edition list, which helps you also to look at his works chronologically. And then the second most frequently asked question that I've gotten thus far is, will this also include the Dark Tower series? And the answer to that is yes. So why am I reading these chronologically, and why am I including things like the Dark Tower series within the mix? Well, if you've ever read a Stephen King novel, you see that oftentimes he will refer to a character from another novel. A good example of this is last year when I read Needful Things, which is here, I came across a very popular character, Cujo. Now, of course, we all know the rabid dog, Cujo. If we are horror aficionado in any way, typically that transcends for most of us into movie watching or television shows. Stephen King is notorious for his made-for-TV movies, his mini-series, and several movies out on the market. The cool thing about Stephen King's movies, though, is that he has a hand in all of the screenplays and the writing, with the exception of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Don't start with that shit, please. It's too early. It's too early and we're not there yet. But that is why Stephen King is so relentless about having his hand in the screenplay writing and some of the directorial to ensure that The Shining never happens again, because he hates that movie. So just to quickly recap, make sure that you check the descriptive, because there will be a list of the Instagrammers that I am linking up to do this chronological read through, and they are all amazing in their own right. Make sure to check my stories daily. I will be doing an updated review for each of these books. Again, it's not going to be in great length, but just to recap to kind of keep us on track. The first read is 1974's Carrie, and the second one will be the 1975 version of Salem Lot, even though I'm showing you the 2005 version. I will find the 1975 one. If you have a Twitter, make sure to look me up on Twitter. It'll be linked in the description below, because we're going to do some fun movie watch throughs there. So this does have a beginning date, obviously, of January 1st, 2020, with no end date in sight, because I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to read through all of King's chronological works. The idea, like I said, is to get through it in a speedy fashion, but not so fast that we're not having fun, because after all, that's what this is all about. to visit the world of Stephen King the way Stephen King intended for it to be visited. So until next time, friends, I will see you real soon. I hope you're as excited as I am, because I am over the moon excited about this one. Until next time, friends, I will see you real soon. Take care. Bye.